ready for football. Welcome to the NFL Pregame Report.
Good people. We are back. A little bit late, but hey, things happen for the NFL Pregame Report. It's your boy, Cool McCain. On my side, I'm joined by my guy, Coach Dante. Coach Dante, what's going on?
Hey, what's good, y'all? What's good? Another football Sunday. Let's get right into it, man.
Yes, sir. And below him, our guy, TJ, the level-headed one. We always have to have one of those when you have guys like us around. What's going on, TJ?
Hey, man. Like Coach said, another Sunday of football and a day off of stress because the Steelers play tomorrow. So,
and the Steelers do play the Giants, so that doesn't hurt.
No comment.
Last but not least, we've got our own Skip Bayless.
Yes, sir.
Ed Green. What's up, Sid?
You know what's going on, man. I'm bringing all the hot takes. Ain't no games going on this morning, so I'm tuned in.
Okay, so yeah, no split in the focus today.
Yeah.
So that should lead to more blasphemy.
You know it. It's coming.
We'll see how that holds up. Hey.
Jaguars turning that corner, man.
All right. SOBs. If they didn't suck so bad, I wouldn't have a 425 game next week. I'd have 8:30 game. But
you ain't getting no prime time playing the Jags.
You really don't. Like, you play the Jags, they're like, you in prime time playing the Jags? Nah, we gotta move that.
Yeah.
And then the Bengals got the nerve to be bad, so they took the game today from 425 to 1. No love, man, no love. And the thing is, if you're, different people have different ways they swing it, but it's a lot less complicated for me when our games are at 4 or 8 than when they're at 1. Like, last year was great. This year's like, hey, you guys suck, so we're just gonna take all your games away, right? But we don't suck, but that's sad. But it's okay. It's okay. It's just extra motivation. Okay, I've digressed enough. We're gonna get into things. Coach Dante over there looking at me like, bruh, we know your team, they got it wrong, but come on. I got you, Coach. I got you. All right, so our first topic of the day is one that's definitely hit us all. And everybody not named the Kansas City Chiefs has felt the sting of this. The refereeing inconsistencies that we have around the NFL. So the way I'll phrase the question here is I'll say this. Guys, how do you feel about the fact that, we have every year where you miss some calls, some things don't go right. But how do you guys feel about the just sheer volume of inconsistencies that we've had with the play calling from the referees? Coach Dante, I know you watch a lot of games, right? You watch a lot of NFL games. So we'll start with you, on this topic.
Well, first of all, then it's going to be some calls missed, of course, on both sides of the ball. Referees are not going to be able to see anything. But do I believe the referees are helping out the Chiefs? I don't know about that. But other than, like I say, again, these at the same time, these squads don't execute the way they should be executing. The Chiefs, they're very beatable. They shown they're a very beatable team. It just team, when you have Brock Purdy throwing 4 interceptions out there, man, that's not going to help your cause. But other than that, yes, it's been a lot of inconsistencies. It's been a lot of missed calls and stuff that you wish you could call. So the referees, has beyond been inconsistent and missed a lot of calls. And most of these calls that they're making, that they're missing is just easy call. I mean, they missed a couple of face mask penalties in games, a lot of face mask penalties in games this year, and all big time situations. So yeah, it's been no doubt inconsistent this year about the referees. I'm not denying that happened.
All right, TJ, what about you, sir? What are your thoughts on the lack of consistency with the refereeing this year?
I mean, it's frustrating because it's not even just from game to game. In some games, it's one drive to the next drive. We poke a lot of fun at the Chiefs. I'm not 100% sold that the league favors them. It definitely looks like they do a little bit, but I can't guarantee it. But, ironically, the Bengals-Chiefs game earlier in the year, man, on literally a drive or two before that offensively for the Bengals, their slot receiver, I believe, gets like mugged over the middle of the field. No flag comes out. But then at the very end of the game, the Chiefs get a ticky-tacky, barely any contact ball. Same thing in the Steelers-Colts game earlier this year. It's like you got them playing hand-to-hand the whole time, but then a big play down the stretch happens and a flag comes out. If you let them play like that for 3.5 quarters, you got to let them play like that for the last 6-7 minutes. You can't get soft right at the end, So it's definitely frustrating. I think what the league really needs to do that they haven't done, even though they said they've done it, is make more exact penalty decisions. Don't have it open for interpretation as much, and you won't have inconsistency league-wide.
Right. Just do like the MLB and go to use a machine to determine everything, right? I mean, there'll always be inconsistencies when you have people, doing the calls, but I mean, I don't know. There's always been controversial calls in the NFL too. So I mean, you can't really do much about it as a part of the game. It's as much a part of the game as drop passes and blown coverage to me, honestly. Like, they can kind of go either way.
So I think I've made my stance clear on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not necessarily that they cheat every time, but if you play this team, if you played this team this year, if you played this team in the playoffs, if you played this team in prime time, you understand pivotal situations, something can go the whole game and not be called on either team, but it'll be called against you in a pivotal drive to allow them to get a win if the game's close, right? The way to beat the Chiefs is you have to go dog walk them, because if not, the game is close. The referees are going to miss the calls that are there for them in pivotal situations, as well as call things against you. And I've seen it happen. I've watched them from week to week. It is a part of what they do because they want this team to be successful. In my opinion, we see the success, but we see how if you play in them, your team is like, bruh, like, when's the last time they call a holding penalty in the playoffs on the Kansas City Chiefs? Do they miraculously stop holding when they get to the playoffs? They don't. But they just stop looking for it. They stop saying, oh, we're going to call it, because that's what they do when they allow a team to have success. They've done this with other teams before. It's not necessarily they call everything or they don't miss anything for them, but in pivotal moments, that play is going to go their way to allow them to get the win. And it's going to go against you. And it may be a no call. That may be something that's ticky-tacky that they haven't called all game. But in the pivotal moments, they're going to get you. Now, as far as everyone else, best example I can give is the Thursday night game we'll talk about. That game was ended on a very poorly blown call. And the referee says, oh, I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. You're standing behind the guy. You see the hand on the mask come across his body like this and slump to the ground. And the telltale sign that there's a penalty was missed. The telltale sign. This happened across some of these bad calls or bad no calls. the guy that did the penalty goes and starts running to the side like this, like because he know he's screwed up. And he just let it be. And unfortunately, they don't have where you can review these plays and get these plays right in these situations. Because we can't say that the team would have won because of that play, but we can't say that that was a really, really badly missed call. And me personally, I feel like the referees have to be inconsistent. But to TJ's point, it has to be consistent within the game. So if you're calling everything, then you have to call everything for both teams. If you're letting everything go, then let everything go. If you're only calling egregious plays, then only call egregious plays. But as a player, if in the first quarter I can hold past 5 yards, throw the receiver to the defender to the side a little bit, and then run my route. And in the second quarter I can't, the third quarter I can't, but the fourth quarter I can. It's inconsistent. I don't understand how to play because you're changing what's allowed within the game. And my biggest thing is rule book is the rule book, but call the play consistently for that game, right? Whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, whether it's hockey, whether it's soccer, whatever it is, call consistently. That's all I ask because that's how guys can play. And this league this year, referee wise, they have not done that. They've let down a lot of teams in pivotal situations. They've helped certain teams in pivotal situations. And it hasn't been consistent for most teams. I feel it's consistent for one team, but give guys a real chance, right? You have to understand how you're being refed, and they haven't done a good job of that. And I don't see it uh, fixing itself anytime too soon because there's too much openness to interpretation. There are some rules that need to just be fine tuned.
Uh-oh. Looked like we lost Cool for a second there.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What do you have on here? I mean, I guess we can agree there has been maybe a bit more inconsistencies with refs this season for sure.
Yeah, but all of them, like if you when you play against the Chiefs, it's kind of like when you get in the red zone opportunities, you have to convert. I mean, you can't consistently turn the ball over against a team like that. Of course, especially if they at Arrowhead Stadium, they're gonna get the call if the game is. They're gonna get the call if the game is closed down the stretch. That's why when you get in the red zone, you have to capitalize. You just can't keep kicking field goals because eventually Patrick Mahomes, they're going to go down the field. They're going to get touchdowns. You can't make boneheaded turnovers, boneheaded offensive penalties. That's why you basically going to have to play a clean game. And I know that's going to be hard for any team against the Chiefs to play a clean game. But when you have your opportunities, whether if it's a catch or a big time defensive play you have to make that play because you cannot give them an opportunity. You cannot give the Chiefs just an opportunity to steal a game from, especially if it's a closer call and stuff like that. The refs are gonna call it. That's why it's so important. Teams like that, when you have them down, you gotta when you have them down, you just gotta be able to execute.
Yeah, and we see it. I mean, we see it in every sport. It's not just football. I mean, you see it in basketball, the biggest one, right? You see all the superstars get the calls because they're the superstars. All the eyes are on them. The people are watching them, so they're gonna pay more attention. They're gonna call those plays. Yeah, granted, with the Vikings the other night, on Sam Darnold, yeah, that was pretty blatant. And we have, obviously we have social media nowadays, and we have all these different angles. We can see it, so we can talk about it. And I'm sure something was done about it, but I mean, it's not a perfect thing with the calls, you know what I mean? And I guess they have their standards of what they're calling and what they're looking for, but it's all open for interpretation. Like every play, you can call holding on every play on the line. You can call pass interference on not every defensive back, but almost, as soon as they get past that 5-yard mark, you see a lot of, hand fighting, a lot of tugging and all this stuff. And it all comes down to whatever the ref decides to call with it as well too. So I just feel like, referees and play calls are going to be something that's always going to be complained about because it seems like it hurts in certain times. But like you said, you got to be able to. The team has to be able to put themselves in a position to where those calls don't affect the game, because you can't really say a game was affected by one or two calls. If it was, then what were you really doing out there? You know what I mean? Like, there's 60 minutes in a game. Like, what are we doing out there if we're letting one or two calls, one or two plays affect our mentality or our momentum or whatever it is going forward? Like, you just have to take it in stride and go. And I know it's a pain point for some people. And, a lot of fans feel like it hurts their team. But it's like, man, was your team really going to win that game anyway? Probably not.
And you'll just be looking at, if we execute this play, this game probably will change. But again, that's when you get frustrated. The referees you got to expect every single game now. The referee's gonna come into play at some point.
At some point,
again, you gotta look at. Darren, we didn't execute on this play.Maybe the game is different. We didn't put away this team when we need to put away this team. Sometimes it just be all about execution and teams. I just feel like a lot of times, like, teams don't execute against the Chiefs like they supposed to. Like, if you're the 49ers, that game was close, but you had Brock Purdy throwing 4 interceptions. You have Brock Purdy just threw the game on his own self and just had 4 turnovers in that game. And you saying the referee just impacted the game off of his 4 turnovers. One of them was by the red zone. One of them was by the red zone as well. So, like I say, it comes down to execution. No matter what team, no matter if it's the Chiefs, it's the Bengals, no matter if it's anything. You in any sport, like you said, you just gotta execute, man. You just don't want the referees to get involved into the game if you don't be executing. If you don't execute, you just can't bring the referees into it, because your team had an opportunity, they just didn't execute when you need them to execute.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't hear anything from Cool. Anyway, what's up, TJ? How do you feel? What are your thoughts over there, man?
I don't know. I'm like Justin Fields. I just don't know anymore.
You said like without Justin Fields,
I will say I did not realize that on the non-super famous platform we're on, I would still get some people coming at me on the internet because I talked smack on Russell Wilson last week.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch out for those Rusties, man.
For real. But it's like I said, I am willing to give him a chance, but let's not instantly crown him comeback player and MVP candidate after one game. Let's give him like a month to see what's going on. Everyone jumped down my throat because he had one good game against an injury-depleted Jets defense. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, but do you feel that one game looked better, though, than with Justin out there? You think it looked the same? I feel like the receivers were eating a little bit more.
I think
with Russ out there.
It would have been basically the same score for the most part, because plays that Russell Wilson made in the air but didn't make on the ground, Justin Fields would, like, there was one play where the whole side of the field was wide open. Russell Wilson threw a duck to get out of the play. Justin Fields, that would have been like 40-yard touchdown. Boom, like done. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty easy stretch. Tomlin, he definitely planned it like this. The easiest couple of games in a row to bring in his guy to look good right out of the gate. That way, if he does actually start to suck against some decent teams, but he's done good too. So let's give him a couple more games like we did for Justin. He planned it all out.
Okay.
But,
shoot, y'all are sitting right there at the top of your division, though. I mean, that's crazy. It's funny to see a team sitting at the top of their division and have so much turmoil within the fan base. So much feels like a split almost. Like, do you foresee that affecting the Steelers going forward? Do you think that'll? Because I mean, they got to be thinking about the playoffs, right? You got to be thinking playoffs, right?
Yep. I mean, that's a tough division. That's what a tough division. Now, Cleveland stinks though. Is the lone team that stinks in the division, but outside of the top three, that's a very tough division, and it's gonna be it always be good football, man. Good defensive football and stuff, and the Jets, the Jets. I mean, I think the score would have kind of been the same. Like TJ said, Jets couldn't do anything on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they ran the ball a couple times on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but other than that, they couldn't do anything up in the air. And Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers got off to a real bad start. Well, you knew it was off to a bad start the moment that they tried. They literally got the ball, ran the play to get the ball to Devontae Adams. He drops it immediately, but that Steelers defense was really, really good, man. I mean, that rookie, Beanie Bishop, he's a really good. I like him, man. I like him. He's a nice rookie, man. I like him.
Cool. Welcome back, man. Can you hear us?
I can, but my camera's not going to work right, so we're going to have to do it this way. All right, guys. So I know we were talking about something different now. Please enlighten me as to where we were at.
We're letting TJ rant.
Well, TJ rants work. All right, let's get back on the thing here. I don't know why my camera's just going crazy today, but things happen. All right, so another question for the esteemed gentleman here with me. Which teams with slow starts will make a playoff push? So, say let's start with you on this one.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say my Broncos. Hey, I don't know if it was a slow start. I don't know what kind of start it's been, but it's been a start. And we're, right now we're in the playoffs, but I think we got a solid chance, especially within our division. I mean, I'm kind of, I'd be looking at the rest of the AFC. It doesn't seem like there's really anything out there besides the top teams, really. So I do think the Broncos have a really, really good chance to sneak into the playoffs. We'll see how it goes. Obviously we play those Chiefs next week, so we'll see how the refs play into it. But right now they're my team from the AFC, and I'm like, okay, I can see them continuing to push along after a little rocky start. They're finally starting to find their feet up under them. And then but we do have, I think the toughest stretch of the season coming up after this week. So get this week out of the way and then still go out positive and keep it going. As far as the NFC, man, honestly, I'm really the Falcons. I did not, and I guess I did, but I did not see them having this type of season so far. It's been really, really weird. And granted, their record's not the best, but in their division, they've shown in that NFC South that you don't need a winning record, or you just need to be at the top of the NFC South at the end of the season, and you'll get in there. So, I got the Falcons. That's my team from the NFC. Maybe not a slow start because they did win some games we didn't expect for them to win so far, but it's definitely been a start. And I know personally, I'm just not sure I know where they sit, but I do feel like they got a chance to take a hold of that division these next couple of weeks with those receivers out from Tampa Bay. And I don't think the Saints are coming back in it.
Coach Dante, what about you?
I'm going to say for the AFC, I'm going to say the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to say them. I think they will have an opportunity. I think the offense is getting going. I think they finding a lot of rhythm. I think the defense is playing well. Joe Burrow has definitely been playing better football. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase had a great last 2 weeks. So I don't know if they will win the division over Baltimore, pretty much Baltimore or Pittsburgh. But I would say they have an opportunity to get to the wild card. I think they're just starting to find a rhythm with Joe Burrow's playing better football. So I would say the Cincinnati Bengals. And on the NFC side, I would say the 49ers. Once they get everybody back, I would say the 49ers. I think that division still is open for grabs. In the NFC West division, I would say the Bengals and 49ers.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals because they're 3-4. Unfortunately for them, they're in the top-heavy so far this season NFC, where a lot of teams are 5-2, 6-1. But the bright side for them is in their own division, they're in a 3-way tie for second and only out of first place to the Seahawks by 1 game.
Mhm.
So the path for them is really easy. Just keep gelling, keep grooving, and keep putting up W's. That's it for them. And the AFC side, I'm going to go with the Dolphins just because they're getting Tua back apparently today. And, that's obviously a big difference maker for them. Hill should be happy. Waddle will be happy. And I'm seeing the offense start to get back. Maybe not quite back up to what we saw, we'll say, last season when things were going really good for him. But, he still has to get acclimated a little bit. But within the next 2-3 weeks, we'll see what the Dolphins season's really going to look like.
All right. Well, I'm back visually now. Took a little bit of time, but
Guess who's back?
we'll see how long it lasts. But I'm here now. All right. So I took a lot of the good ones. I'm not gonna lie, but that's okay. There's always those. I think a team that actually has a great shot in the AFC. Kind of hurts me to say this, but the Colts.
I thought you were about to say the Patriots.
Oh, I would never say something like that. Blasphemy above your grade, so I don't go.
Drake may look good, man.
Yeah, they won't. And it'll make me happy that they won't. But the Colts, man, they're just kind of they're right there, right? They're kind of battling the Texans a little bit in the division. They got a game today, but even not winning the division, because I do believe that's the Texans, the Colts could be one of those teams because the Jaguars are completely, utterly garbage. So the Colts are a team that might be able to slide into one of those playoff spots if they could just keep it together at the quarterback position and have guys healthy enough to help them actually win games. I'm actually cheating, go double dipping in the AFC, the Bengals. I feel that I don't think they're going to win today, of course, but I think in the long run, they'll do enough to make the playoffs. This team has a very talented quarterback. They have good receivers. Defensively, they've never been good, but that's never hurt them before, right? So I think that they have an opportunity to bounce back and make some things happen. If we're looking in the NFC, we got to go to the what would Chris Berman say, the Norris division. The Chicago Bears. They have a great defense. They can run the ball really well, and their quarterback is becoming a guy who doesn't hurt them, like a game manager with a little extra pizzazz. And if he can do that with that defense that he has there, with that running game, headed by Devontae Swift, but he's not the only person. They have some other guys that are contributing on the ground as well. I think this is a team that everyone counted out that can make some moves here up the rankings. They are 4-2. They can stay within that playoff race and maybe eke out that 7th spot. I don't think there'll be a team that will do a lot once they get to the playoffs, but that wasn't the question. The question was they can make a push to get to the playoffs, and I think the Bears can do that. All right.
Bears.
The Bears. Got me over here saying good things about the Bears.
We'll see today they play, because you want them to beat your Commanders, beat the Commanders, right?
I don't expect them to beat the Commanders. I have no expectation they'll beat the Commanders, but it's a long season. I think they'll do enough to get in the playoffs. So we have 2 teams, and then if you guys would like to add other teams, of course, set it up this way. So we have the Seattle Seahawks, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and then we have some other teams that have kind of went on a slide as of late, right? Teams that started off, 1-0, 2-1, that type of thing. Well, not 1-0, but you know what I'm saying. Teams that started off playing really well, winning like 2-3 of their first games, 3 of their first games, or whatever, and have kind of been sliding as of late. Let's talk to me, guys, about. I mean, you can use the Seahawks, the Vikings, or you can use another team. Your thoughts on teams that have slidden this last couple of weeks, and if they'll be able to kind of right the ship, or are we going to continue to have these teams continue their slide, and other teams that we were just talking about come up and kind of take some of those spots from them? TJ, we'll start with you on this one, sir.
For the Vikings, I think they're okay for the most part. Both losses were close losses. People are obviously going to focus on the face mask, but at the end of the day, they were at their own 2-yard line late in the fourth quarter, not in the lead. So even if the face mask call happens, that doesn't mean automatic touchdown. That means they would have been at their 20, still at 80 yards to go with like a minute and a half to go. So, I mean, they kept it close, but, they just weren't able to finish these last two games. But I think honestly, keep that face mask in your mind if you're a Vikings player and say, hey, that's why we got to play better. We can't let something like that, alter the difference of a game. We gotta make it happen. For the Seahawks, honestly, I don't think they're in trouble either, because this is kind of how they've been the past couple of years with Geno Smith at quarterback. They've kind of been up and down. Some games look great offensively, others don't. Sometimes the defense gets put into a bad position. But it's kind of been, I don't want to say a roller coaster ride, because there's been more ups than downs so far anyway. But I think they're okay. I really do. One team that has started to slide really bad, in my opinion, is the Eagles. No, just kidding. Now, one team that I think is really starting to slide after not really starting off the season super strong, but looking more impressive than they've turned out to be are the Cowboys. And they have a big game today. And in my opinion, if they lose today's game, might not be the final nail in the coffin for McCarthy, but it's definitely getting down to the last couple. That's for sure.
Well, I, for one, hope that McCarthy stays there a very long time. Dallas, I think you're doing a great job of keeping McCarthy in place. I think he's a guy that's very beneficial to the rest of the NFC East. So let's keep McCarthy. Oh man! All jokes aside, though, this is kind of a tough one for me because there's a lot of teams that I feel like have did a little bit of the sliding. Seahawks, I'll definitely talk about. Started off 4-0, and in the last three, man, it's just they haven't looked good, right? They just haven't looked strong. They haven't looked like the team that expects to be in the playoffs. I mean, we say 4-3, like, dude, they're 4-3, right? 3 losses in a row. They perfectly fit what we're discussing here. They just don't look the same. DK Metcalf's out today. He's had some great games. He's had some pedestrian games. Have him in fantasy, so definitely know what he's been doing. And Geno Smith, right? He'll sometimes look like a guy's like, man, Geno, he's rejuvenated in Seattle. Last few games, he's looked like the worst version of Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts when they're just staring at the field for 10 seconds and getting just hit, right? And just beat down. So I don't know if they'll be able to turn around and fix what's going on there. If they do, it could be entertaining, because this is a team that's gritty. They can run the ball, but they just have not gotten it done the last few weeks, and it's been really, really, really bad. I think a team that we had expectations for, though I'll kind of loop in here, I kind of follow TJ's lead, is the Raiders, right? We didn't expect the Raiders to be world beaters, but we didn't expect them to be 2-5. You know what I'm saying? And they started off, some signs of life, and then they just died. There's locker room turmoil. And I do another show with a guy who swears that the Eagles have all this locker room turmoil. Well, I'll say if there's one team that definitely has locker room turmoil, it's the Raiders. When the coach comes out and said guys aren't bought in, guys aren't doing their part for us to win, right? You're going to fall off.
Quitting on the field. You can't forget about that.
Yeah, and then the coach come out and basically say the guys are quitting. That's not a good situation. So that'll be a couple I'll talk about, and I'll leave some others, for you guys, because I don't want to be that guy. Coach Dante, what about you, sir?
Well, I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. They started off 3-1. They started off 3-1. Perfect definition of a great start. 3-1. They scored 51 points on a New Orleans Saints team, but let's be honest, New Orleans Saints fell apart at that time. But they started off 3-1. They started off with an impressive win over the Philadelphia Eagles, impressive win over them. They started off opening day, I think, also with an impressive win but you lost the game the other night, and you also lost 2 players. So you lost the battle and you lost the war. You lost both things because you lost both of your players, which is Chris Godwin shouldn't even been in the game. The game was already over when it was already 50 seconds on the clock, and you think you were coming back down from 2 touchdowns, and the man ends up getting a dislocated ankle because you decided to lead a man in. Mike Evans probably shouldn't even play through a hamstring injury, and this I feel bad for him because he don't miss games, and he's good every year. But he clearly was hurt, and he ends up getting a re-aggravated injury. And plus, you lose Chris Godwin at the end of the game when you knew the game was over with. That's on Todd Bowles right there. All on Todd Bowles. That's all on the head coach. You cannot do that. So, and I think they're going to start reeling even more. I think they're going to start literally reeling even more. I think they're going to, because they got the Falcons today. They got the Falcons today at home. They may not, they are favored to win this game, but I may not have them winning this game because you lost both of your receivers and you have to pick up one, I believe, during this weekend. Then you have the Chiefs coming up. Then you have the San Francisco 49ers. So I don't think they maybe end up surviving after that game against the Baltimore Ravens. But yeah, that's a team that started off hot, but then again, they start falling apart. They got a big win against the Saints. They play the Ravens. You lose the battle and the war because you lost both of your stud wide receivers. You lost both of them too. So yeah, that's a team. That's my team.
All right, Shed, I know you got somebody, at least one. Talk to us. You on mute, sir, or we can't hear you.
There we go. I was gonna touch on the Seahawks. They did beat the Falcons last weekend, but we're starting to see that division wake up, right? We see what the Rams can do. They got their wide receivers back. We'll see if they play through, but we see what they can do. San Francisco's going to get their team back sooner than later, right? I mean, I heard C-Mac's supposed to be coming back as early as week 9. So we're going to see that NFC West wake up. Huh?
That's the third time he's supposed to be coming back. We'll see.
True. And he may not come back, but I mean, they'll get Deebo Samuel back. They'll get,
Deebo playing this week.
Huh?
Deebo playing this week.
Is he? See, so yeah, I mean, they're getting some of their pieces back, but San Francisco's a great team. I mean, Brock Purdy is not going to be throwing multiple interceptions every game. Yeah, so I mean, Seattle, I don't even, I don't foresee them continuing at the top of that division, although they are always in it. I mean, they play the Bills this weekend. That's going to be an interesting interconference or whatever you want to call it, clash or whatever, or I don't know, whatever. They play the Bills, then they play the Rams, then they play the 49ers, then they play the Cardinals. So they have their entire division coming up, as do everybody else, with those division games coming up. So that's gonna be a tough stretch for them, man. I mean, we saw what Puka and Cooper Kupp just went out and did. They had like 129 yards combined or something like that in the first half. Again, just came out there doing every single play for those guys. They're like, so it'll be interesting to see if DK can get back healthy. I mean, and get back out there blocking guys with one arm. I think that gives them a chance for sure. And like you said, their running game, Kenneth Walker is going off and stuff. But I foresee. Yeah, I don't see them making it too far at the top of their division. Another team that kind of slowed down. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins, man. There was such high hopes for the Dolphins, and they came out fire, and then that whole thing with Tua just set it off, and then there became the whole thing about whether he should play as he come, whatever, and just turned into a whole thing. Now they're sitting at 2-4. Luckily, the Jets and the Patriots suck, so they do have a chance to salvage something, but they're not going anywhere this season. They're not going to the playoffs. That AFC is too strong right now for multiple teams from every division. I mean, the AFC North may mess around and have 3 teams, make it in. So, there's a very slim chance for them to climb back up that mountain and get into the playoffs. So, yeah, my other team is going to be the Dolphins. While I do see Tua coming back, it's going to be interesting to see how Tua plays because without wearing that guardian cap, I don't know. I think he's going to be a little bit more cautious in what he does and the plays that he runs. I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, my team's the Dolphins.
All right, and yeah, you're right. I did misspeak. They won. They lost 3 of the last 4. You're correct.
Don't you be right? Don't you be right him off,
Yeah,
Gino?
Yeah. It feels like he's kind of written himself off of it. That's another story for another time. All right, so comprehensive surprise player, a player that you kind of thought would not play up to what they've done so far that surprised you. And this, well, let's say it this way: good or bad, a player that has surprised you, either someone that you weren't expecting to be as good as they were, or someone that you were expecting to be significantly better than they have been. We can do 2. There's enough guys, right? We can do 2. We can do 1 of each or 2 of either one. We can do 2. We got enough players for that, I feel like. All right, Sid, we'll start with you.
Yeah, man, my first player, and I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but Derrick Henry, right? Like, I feel like people expected for him to drop off. I mean, you don't see running backs last as long as he has. You don't see running backs do what he does. No, there is no other running back on this planet that has rushed 2,000 yards at every level in their football career in a season. So we're seeing things that we haven't been seeing done, and he's continuing to shatter the barrier. I kind of felt like when he left Tennessee, it was kind of like a mini like Brady Belichick situation. Like, was it the Tennessee line or was it Henry? And then we're wondering to see how much running, how many carries he was going to get, over there with Lamar Jackson. So I mean, he's only leading the league with 173 yards. 8 rushing touchdowns. I think he's number 1 in that too. I think he's number 1 in yards per carry. I think he's number 1 in carries. He's number 1 in everything. He's King Henry, showing why he's King Henry. And not only is he number 1, he's doing it in an offense where Lamar Jackson is top 3 in the league in his stats as well too. So it's not like anything's been shut off. It's just they're just really showing us what you can do when you have really great players in sync. And I feel like for the past few weeks, we've been sitting there saying, oh man, when Baltimore figures out this offense, when they get it figured out, and this whole time he's just been rolling. On the flip side, though, dang, I wish I could do more players because I was gonna say Cortland Sutton. But I mean, I want to say Tony Pollard, man. Tony Pollard. I have been impressed with Tony Pollard over there in that Tennessee offense. He looks good, man. He looks good. I always say, in my opinion, I mean, I think the best running back duo right now is obviously the Lions with Gibbs and Montgomery. But I think Pollard and Spears, they're like right there in that top, 4 or 5 running back duo conversation as well. And I mean, he has half the yards of Henry. I think he has 400 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. So you can see it's shrunk down to a running back by committee over there in Tennessee, with what Henry left behind, making what he's doing over there in Baltimore look even better because, I mean, Justice Hill is still getting a little bit himself. So it's not like they're lacking for stuff. It's just he's going off. And then, yeah, like I said, I think Tony Pollard looks really great in the offense. And then to sneak one in there, just Cortland Sutton, man. I thought Cortland Sutton would be popping off a little bit more than he has, being number 1 in that offense. And it's seeming like he's probably going to be on another team in the next couple weeks. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, Coach Dante, you got.
I'm gonna say Beanie Bishop from the Steelers. I believe this guy was an undrafted free agent, if I'm not mistaken. This guy's made an impact on the Steelers defense, man. He has been really good. Like I say, I've been watching. Kuma can't say I watch a lot of football. I keep up on a lot of players, but this guy has been an outstanding player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he's been an interception machine, along with my guy, rookie safety Kellen Bullitt. But I'm not gonna bring him up because I'm not a big fan of just bringing up my players. So, Beanie Bishop, it gets the nod for me. And another player, Joe Flacco, man, coming off, man, this guy know how to hose it down coming off the man, you got a 50-year-old quarterback out there still playing football high rate and keeping that train together for the Indianapolis Colts. So I gotta give those two. Those are my two guys. But Benny Bishop is for an undrafted free agent, man, rookie free agent, man, has been impressive on that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I gotta give the credit. I've been seeing this guy a lot. This guy's been a pickoff machine. He's always in the right spot. He's always near the football. And Joe Flacco, man, the reason why the Colts are in the division is because of Joe Flacco's been playing some hell of football, not turning the ball over. So yeah, those two gets my nod.
All right, TJ.
The surprise would be for the good would be Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I didn't expect him to have such an impact with the Commanders. Sometimes rookie quarterbacks, more times often than not, they have to get acclimated a little bit. They do so and then get progressively better. Man, this guy came in ready to play, and he came in ready to ball out. He has the Commanders, at the top of the division. I mean, nobody saw that. And, just on a quick side note, I'm happy for Dan Quinn, man. He deserved another coaching opportunity, and he's taking care of business right now. Mm-hmm. The not so good, which I personally revel in, is Aaron Rodgers. I still remember the worst night of my football life. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, man, dude, he's old. He's over the hill. I don't know if he's having too many mushrooms on the sideline or whatever he was trying to sniff out of that bottle that they caught him on camera with, but he does not have it anymore. I'm sure the Jets are really regretting signing him now because they honestly thought, I think Woody Johnson really thought that he was getting MVP Aaron Rodgers from like 5-6 years ago, not the player he's become, which is diminished like all quarterbacks do, especially in older age. But again, I'm kind of happy about that for my own personal way because I hold grudges, and Aaron Rodgers stole a ring from me. I cried that night. Come on, man.
Yeah, I also revel in Aaron Rodgers because I do feel like he stole a ring from us. I feel like if we would have beat them a couple of years ago, when everybody said we were the two best teams in the NFL, but we lost and then y'all won the Super Bowl. So, good job, Aaron Rodgers. Suck. You can be on that list of people that I do enjoy watching suck too. All right. So, thought about this. So, for my disappointing player, I'm going to go with a guy that he's played pretty decent, but nowhere near the expectations of his new contract that he set out and forced Dallas to give him. And then, of course, you could go two ways on this, but I want to go with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee is not out there putting it all out there. CeeDee is alligator arm. CeeDee is making business decisions. CeeDee is like, I got my bread, and now I'm going to play like I got my bread.
Well, he see T. Higgins and Ayuk getting hurt. He like,
Well, he was doing that before he was one of those guys. He's been doing this. He's been putting this in since week one. Since week one, CeeDee is coming out there. I'm not saying he's not making any plays, but we're accustomed to a certain amount of catches, a certain amount of plays, a certain amount of putting it out there from CeeDee Lamb, and he is not giving it this year. This year, he's like, I'm going to make the plays when they open or when I feel good, but if I feel like I'm going to get hurt, I might have to slow down that route. I might have to not reach up for that ball. I'm going to protect myself now. And we see that happen. I won't say all the time, but we see it happen a lot with young wide receivers. Once they get that big payday, it's kind of like, hey, I'm a brand now. I got to protect myself. And not that they weren't thinking that before, but you got to do what you got to do to get the money. But then once you get the money, you can operate a little bit differently. And I think CeeDee has definitely done that. And we've seen the dip in a guy that was argumentatively one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league last year because of the volume of catches he was making and the yards he was getting, not be at that level this year. So that's interesting for me. There's so many ways you can go with who's kind of been surprising, but I think I'm going to be a homer because my guy deserves some props. Is the first one. As a matter of fact, 2 guys deserve some props. The top 2 picks for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason why this is surprising, you may say, well, cool, they're top 2 picks. The reason why this is surprising, if you follow the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, we suck at developing and eyeballing talent at the cornerback position. We suck at that. This team has sucked at that for years. That's why you've seen all these guys have to be brought in. That's why you've seen these guys play here 1 year and they're gone, play here a couple years, go somewhere else and have a better career. Because we've sucked at developing guys and eyeballing talent at the cornerback position. We did it twice this year. Quinyon Mitchell stepped in from week 1 as the starter on the outside due to injury, and Isaiah Rodgers can't get over him to get on the field. Isaiah Rodgers cannot get the job back because he gave it up. Quinyon Mitchell has been a top player. He's had, I think, the second most passes defensed in the NFL. He's had about 5 or 6 almost interceptions. He's played well. He stayed with everyone. There hasn't been a receiver that's dominated this young man yet. And then he did just get in after our bye week. But Cooper DeJean has been a revolution, a revolution on that defense in the corner slot position. These two guys have elevated this defense that could have been way worse even than it was at the beginning of the year, and especially this last couple of weeks. Their style of play, their youth, their exuberance, their understanding of the schemes is very high for guys who are rookies. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go straight NFC East. Homerism at its best, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
I'm gonna take my one. I think everybody can say this, but I'm gonna say Gardner Minshew has not performed well at all. No, despite almost leading the Colts to the playoffs and being a respectable quarterback, you expect him to come in and be a lot better, especially with this Raiders team that, like Cool McCain mentioned earlier, that we didn't expect them to be this bad. We expected them at least be competitive. They're 2-5 because he can't stop turning the ball over. They're 2-5 because he decides to have 4 turnovers in the game against the LA Rams, where the game that he clearly gave away. But again, you got to fault the organization for that as well, because not having a running back not having a good running back as well, to take some pressure off of him as well. But again, Gardner Minshew is a guy that I think he's a competent quarterback. He's not a starter. I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a backup. But based on what he did with the Colts last year, what he did with the Colts, and him almost taking that team to the playoffs, and him coming into a new system, finally getting his chance to be the starting quarterback, even though I thought they made the wrong decision. I thought everybody liked that. Toronto did more than him. Man, you shown flashes that you play pretty well, but again, hey, he got to get on my shit list.
All right, guys. So we'll switch over here. Talk a little Thursday night football, right? We had a game on Thursday. It was actually a really good game, I would say, overall. Good back and forth for that game. Now, there are several things you could talk about within the game. The Vikings defense did really well. They got some turnovers. They didn't do enough to win the game, but they got some turnovers. They kept the game close, up until the end. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the penalty. And I know we talked about it earlier, and while I was trying to get things settled, I was still listening. And I would say this, there was no guarantee that they would go down in like a minute and a half and win the game, right? There's no guarantee, but they didn't get the opportunity because of a bad call. And that's disappointing because it took away that drama that could have made that game better in the eyes of casual Thursday night fans. When I think about these things, I don't necessarily think about the guys like me or anybody on this panel, anybody on our sports networks, or guys that we talk sports with a lot from other networks. We know what it is. We're not affected either way by that. We just say, oh, it's a bad call. But these Thursday night games, especially ones like this that was actually watchable in a good game, to deflate the ending like that is a little disappointing. And again, those casuals, they come in, they see something like that, and they say, that's why I don't really watch the NFL, because the NFL is rigged and they want certain teams to win. And there's a lot of ways that you can point to that being accurate for that, especially if you're a guy that doesn't watch. But if you got to watch this, you saw a good game unfold before you. Unfortunately, Sam Darnold misplays before that, so I'm not going to say, oh, they would have guaranteed a win, right? Because they would have had to go down and score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion. That's what the Vikings would have had to do because it was 20-28. So they needed 8 points to win the game. So again, not saying that they definitely would have won the game, but saying that seeing that drama unfold, that could have been must-see TV, and it kind of got unfortunately taken away. But again, I watched this entire game, which I don't do for a lot of Thursday games because I'm looking at them and I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, it's not good. But the Vikings, 2 close games. That's been the losses that they've had. But this one here, there were several opportunities to do things kind of within the flow of the game that they weren't able to do. A lot of times that some questionable play calling, but when things don't work, it's sometimes questionable. When it works, you love it. But I would definitely say, I don't know how you guys feel about this is one of the better Thursday night games that we've had, and a game that had you in suspense until the last about 2 minutes. I'm sure that Seb will bring us some numbers and a blasphemous thought or two. So let's go ahead and hear that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like people blowing me up, of course, right now. Yeah, so actually, I mean, this game, like you said, it was probably one of the better Thursday night games after that Broncos-Saints game. I mean, come on, 33 points. But anyway, no, we saw vintage Matthew Stafford in this game, right? Fantasy related. He had over 25 fantasy points, almost 300 yards at 279 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2 of them went to Demarcus Robinson, who felt like he hasn't been relevant at all with Cooper and Puka out. But now that you got the top dogs back eating up all the space, he was able to get in there in the red zone and get those points. But we saw all 3 of those receivers get double-digit points, over 15 fantasy points. So from a fantasy point of view, I mean, I don't think, think anybody was probably starting Cup unless they thought to start in the last minute. And then, Robinson, nobody had him. But, I mean, it was just an air raid attack. And I didn't catch the whole game. I watched part of it. And, man, just the way that they put Puka and Cooper into position, and it's just like a 1-2 punch, man. You got Puka coming, running out the backfield. He can open up the defense, take it over the top, but he can also run his routes all super sharp. And then you got Kupp, who is that guy who can always run his routes super sharp, man. And you just see how it opened up as the game went on between the two of them with their running game. And then Kyron Williams, right? He's had a touchdown in what, like, I don't know, like the past every game. I think he's had I don't know, like the past 5 games, I think at least he's had a touchdown in each one of those games. So they're just starting to wake up, and the Vikings were not ready for it, man. It just felt like when the Vikings played the Lions, they gotta kind of the season started, right? The NFL season started, right? They were getting, what is it, like they call it a handicap in golf or something, where you if you're not as good, you get like so much leeway on the other people, so you can, and then if they catch up, they'll, but still, that's what I felt like, the first couple games, people weren't knowing what to expect from Sam Darnold, and now they're starting to get some tape on him, you're starting to see those turnovers, and we saw a few of them this Thursday night. On the Viking side, I mean, Justin Jefferson is going to eat too. He ate for sure. Aaron Jones is going to get his. He got his. Sam Darnold isn't that dude. We're going to see JJ come back out, and now we're starting to see why they plan to probably trot out JJ as a rookie quarterback with all these other rookie quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, he's a good story, but there's a reason, he was bounced, around the Jets, the 49ers, the Panthers, all these teams after being a top 5 pick. And we're starting to see that he had a decent game, for sure. And actually, I guess he didn't have an interception. Maybe I was thinking of something else. I don't know. So, but either way, like, I just feel like teams kind of starting to figure him out. We saw that in the Lions game, though, where they're right there because they have a good team, but they're just that quarterback away.
TJ?
Of course, it was like probably one of the better Thursday football games, considering, on Thursday, I also had to pay attention to Pitt go 7-0.
Hmm.
But it kind of does prove your point, because by the time I got done celebrating the victory and switched over to the game, I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a really good game. It's going down to the wire. Oh, look, a missed face mask, safety. Well, I'm changing the channel now. It was spot on. That's really all I needed to see, because at that point, you look at the scoreboard, 10 points, a minute and 15, a minute 20, whatever seconds left, that it was over. I think unfortunately, the everlasting thought of, again, what should have been one of the better games of the year, not just on Thursday night, but for the year, is that image that's going around the internet with the official literally right there by the goalpost, looking at the face mask being torn. And it's just not a good look for the NFL. And again, like you said, it's not a good look for any fan that just wanted to turn it on and watch it, who might be either a casual fan or only watch their team, but they figured out, why not check it out? And then that happens, you just turned them right back off. So it should have gone down as one of the better games, but instead it's going to go down as kind of like, a mud stain on the NFL this year.
Coach?
Same with him, with everybody on the panel. It was a 10-point game. I mean, the Rams found a way to get the victory. You would have liked to see with the call how the game was going to really actually turn out. But then again, like I say, we will actually never know that, because the referee didn't give us a chance to didn't actually see it. But other than that, man, just got to give credit. The Rams played well. They ran the ball pretty well. Matthew Stafford, outside of the interception, had a great game, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Sam Darnold also played well. He didn't turn the ball over. I thought the running game was good for the Rams. 97 yards for Kyron Williams. Puka Nacua coming off injury was really good, and Cooper Kupp was really good that night too as well. He had a touchdown. But other than that, man, Vikings, 2 losses in a row. They got to find a way to get back on track. Not want to say that the Lions loss kind of got them, because when the Lions beat the Seattle Seahawks, they were both undefeated when they went in. When the Lions beat the Seattle Seahawks, they lost 3 straight games before they won last weekend. I don't know if this will be a tandem for the Minnesota Vikings as it continue to go forward, but my speculation, I think they will remain solid as long as Sam Darnold can take care of the ball and not turn the ball over. And if they can run the ball a little bit more with Aaron Jones, I think that will help them a lot. And Justin Jefferson keep being the receiver that he is, I think that will be fine.
Okay. So we got 3 matchups to give a little detail on, and then we'll just fly through the other picks. So let's get this thing popping. So the first one of those matchups that we'll kind of dig into a little bit is going to be the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You might think, with the way Tampa Bay's been playing lately, why would we highlight this game? It's a great question. Very simple answer. If you saw the last one, you know why. This could prove to be a smorgasbord for fantasy owners. If it's anything like the last game, it could also prove to be a game that the Bucs can get a little get back and try to turn their season around. Because if they can go out there and beat this Atlanta Falcons team that beat them last time with the 500-yard performance for Kirk Cousins and a big touchdown at the end, this could be a game that alters the fate of the NFC South, right? Because right now we're looking at the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be a lot better defensively this time around. But, Tampa doesn't have their top 2 receivers. But one of the things that we say about what sets better quarterbacks apart is you're able to go out there and make things happen with what you have. So we'll see what Baker Mayfield is able to do in this game. I'm definitely going to go with the Falcons. I think the defense is going to be able to do enough, especially without the top 2 players on the Bucs. But I don't think the Bucs are going to get beat down in this game. I think they're going to be there at the end, and have an opportunity. They may not be able to seize it because they're going to be missing some key pieces, but I think that they'll do enough to stay in this game and make this a really good game for the week. But I am going Falcons. Coach Dante, who you got?
I'm going to go Falcons as well. I think the Bucks losing Mike Evans and losing Chris Godwin. I think losing Chris Godwin definitely hurt someone who's been productive for them. Now you got to rely on more of the running game. You got to probably rely on more of the running game. Baker Mayfield, you expect him to throw a lot of times in this game, but I think you just should rely on more on the running game because you don't probably have the receiving core. You don't have the receiving core in this game. But again, Falcons, I think they're going to win this game. I like their secondary this time against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to match up with these receivers. I like their secondary. I think they should run the football more with Algieri and Bijan Robinson. And if Kirk Cousins do not turn over the football, I think they will be fine. I got them winning this game like a 10-point game. I would say it'll be a 10-point game. It won't be a blowout. It won't be a whooping, but I'll say a 10-point game, a close 10-point game.
All right, then we'll go Sid and then TJ.
Yeah, man. Oh, I want to go Tampa Baker, but it's a hard one. They still got other receivers. They got McMillan, they got Shepard, they got Palmer, but who are those guys, right? I mean, it's really not a different outlook from Atlanta's receivers. I mean, yeah, they've been popping off the past couple weeks, so we think Darnell Mooney is popping off. Ray McLeod, but I mean, from a fantasy point of view, we're not looking at any of these receivers besides Drake London. Maybe you're playing Kyle Pitts if you need somebody else. I'm looking at the defenses feasting on both sides, but yeah, I think just the fact that Baker losing his two top targets, they're not going to be able to hang on in a shootout if it does come down to a shootout. And they weren't able to hang on the last time with those guys in there. So I'm going to go Atlanta as well.
I'm going to go with Tampa.
Oh,
because hey, man, Baker is used to this. He played in Cleveland. Okay, he's used to having to make it happen, even if he has nothing. So he's been battle tested for it. I see it being a really good game. Atlanta, obviously no slouch either, but in the division, Buccaneers need this, especially after last week's beatdown. I think it's gonna be a close game. It'll probably be a 3-point game or a 4-point game. Basically, whoever has the ball last is probably going to win that game.
Okay. All right. So our second prime time or big matchup we're going to feature is the Bears versus the Commanders. This game was flexed in. The Eagles were flexed to 1 for this game to be there. With this game, it's really simple. You've got the top 2 picks facing each other in a regular season game. Both teams are playing pretty well. You got to have that matchup, as a primetime matchup. Get that. But it is what it is there. But I think both of these guys have shown enough to have a matchup against each other. They're going to be compared to each other for as long as they're in the league. And Caleb Williams has come on as of late. I don't think they're going to win this game, but I think that he'll have a good showing, and it'll still be the stories coming out about how both of these guys can be franchise quarterbacks moving forward after this game. Keep it in mind, the Commanders do have some issues, some concerns in their secondary play. So they're going to have opportunities for the Bears as long as they can make the best of those opportunities. The Bears will have a chance to be in this game. They could possibly sneak out a win, but I don't think so. I'm going to go Commanders. And then I'll start with TJ. We'll go TJ, Sid, Coach Dante.
I'm going to go with the Commanders as well. Quite frankly, I just trust Jaden Daniels way more than Caleb Williams if it comes down to a final drive. I think today, honestly, cements the kind of the theory or, the newest thing in the gossip, corner of the NFL. That is, the Bears are low-key already regretting not drafting Jaden Daniels instead because he's looked way better. Caleb Williams, I think he's going to be all right. But honestly, I mean, I watch a lot of USC in college football too, and you know what? There were times where he was on. There were also a lot of times where he was off, and I think a head-to-head matchup today, it's going to show that right now anyway. Jaden Daniels, the more NFL-ready quarterback in year one. So Commanders.
It's on you.
Yeah, man. This one I want to go Commanders, but that Commanders defense doesn't want me to go Commanders. Whereas that Bears defense has really held Caleb Williams down a couple times this season. But I mean, yeah, like to piggyback off TJ, I mean, Jaden Daniels was ranked. I mean, he's the number 3 quarterback right now today in the league. Caleb Williams is number 22 quarterback. So not really too far apart. They're both in that, top 25 quarterback realm as a rookie, which is amazing. Just man, that
Did
Daniels
number 3 is not far off from number 25. I'm number 22.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like their stats. It's
that's
cool.
way far. That's way far. 25.
I'm not gonna. I thought I misheard.
When Cool brought that up, I had to get it.
All right. Either way, though, like I said, though, they're both ranked in the top 25. I caught myself when I said it earlier too. They're both ranked in that top 25 of quarterbacks. Honestly, though, I would say, though, Caleb Williams would be a lot higher if he were playing more consistent from the start of the season as like Jaden Daniels was. I think Jaden Daniels did benefit a lot from people not expecting him being this good. They didn't expect – no one was game planning for Scary Terry. No one was looking out for Scary Terry, man. They were not expecting the Commanders to come on this quick, and I think that did help him. But he has – shown he took it in stride and he definitely took advantage of it, whereas he could have sunk. He rose to the occasion and he showed that he is definitely ready. I do feel that Caleb has a bit more targets. His team been built for him to have success, so I think that's going to carry them a little bit further today against that shaky Commander secondary. He's been running a lot more too, the past couple games. He's been using his feet a lot more. Of course, Jaden Daniels has been picking it up a lot more, but he's coming off that rib injury. Yeah, he's going to play because this is the showdown. Everybody's pumping him up. You got to be in this game. You got to play. But is he really all there 100% to play? We'll find out, though. And once that Bears defense starts hitting him, we'll really find out. So I'm going to go Bears in this one with the upset.
First of all, I'm gonna go with the Bears because I love the defense. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a tremendous football player, and I'm not willing to go so far as the Bears, the Commanders, or the Bears are regretting somebody is regretting to not pick Caleb Williams, or the Bears are regretting to pass on Jaden Daniels because they're both winning. They're both coming in this game. Caleb Williams has performed very well the last couple of weeks. So I'm not willing to go that far. Like a CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, that's a unanimous decision that the Panthers regret doing that. I'm not gonna, but I'm on these two. I can't go right there because they both having success. And Jaden Daniels definitely been a better quarterback. Let's get that out of the way. He's definitely been a better quarterback. And Terry McLaurin is a underrated wide receiver. This guy's been getting 1,000 yards with bad quarterback play. Before Jaden Daniels came in, he's been getting over 1,000 yards with bad quarterback play, consistently terrible quarterback play. The deep secondary has always been bad. I think the Bears got the pieces like said brought up. DJ Moore, they got Romeo Dunze, they got the tight end. The tight end is really good. The tight end is really good as well. DeAndre Swift, they got the weapons to exploit that secondary again and that defensive line. The Commanders also missing a key piece of Jonathan Allen as well on the defensive line of the ball. So I like the Bears defense going into this game, and I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to win this game.
All right, and the third matchup, we have the 3-3 Dallas Cowboys against the 3-4 49ers. And the reason that I've liked picking this specific game is do or die for one of these teams, right? At 3-3 and 3-4, you both need a win, but you both can't win. So I think for me, I'm going to go to the 49ers. I think Dallas a lot of injuries, the 49ers a lot of injuries, but they do have Debo. They will have George Kittle will be playing, of course. Even without CMC, they've actually been able to be really strong in certain situations in the run game. Dallas is susceptible to said run game. And I feel like the 49ers offense is going to push the ball. They're going to run a lot. They're going to try to control the clock. And I think their defense is in better shape than Dallas's, which, again, isn't saying a lot as bad as hurt as Dallas defense is. But I feel like the 49ers smell blood. And let's not forget, the 49ers have been a team that have fared very well against the Cowboys in the recent past. And I think it's going to continue. This time we'll start with Coach Dante, then said, and then we'll finish off with TJ.
I'm going to also go with the 49ers to win this game as well. They had a lot of success against the Cowboys. No matter who's at running back, they can run the football regardless, no matter who's at the running back position. Dallas cannot stop the run. That's one of the things they cannot stop. They're pretty consistently bad at each and every week. They cannot stop the run. And when they cannot stop the run, you can throw on them. Brock Purdy, I don't think he throws 4 interceptions in this game. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle definitely is going to help him. Also, who's been really good for him is Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings is another receiver that you can look out for. For Dallas, they don't have a run game. I think the 49ers run defense can definitely stop the run. They're going to make Dallas one-dimensional and make Dak Prescott have to throw the football pretty much all game long. I'm going to go with the 49ers to win this game.
All right, Ted, it's on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just don't have any faith in Dallas. And I saw a report this morning that the kicker, Brandon Aubrey, he wasn't at practice all week because he had jury duty. So he was kicking at the practice. I think that's their offense right there. No. I mean, Rico Dowdle, he's been picking it up lately. They call up Dalvin Cook. I don't know if it's going to help or hurt, do anything really, if he's going to have any touches or if it's just more so just to try to make some news and on a team that doesn't have any news, right? So I feel like on the 49ers side, I don't think Brock Purdy is going to come out, throwing multiple interceptions this game. I think he's, he got Deebo Samuel back, got Jordan Mason, and it seems like no matter who they put it back, who they put in the backfield, they're going to go off for at least 100 yards. So their running game's good. Their running game's kosher no matter where it is. And then you got George Kittle. You can't sleep on that. And that's San Francisco defense, man. I'm going to go with 49ers.
I'm going to go with 49ers as well. For
Dallas going to win.
For pretty for pretty much just the most basic of analysis. You have one team, they can't seem to get out of their own way and get a win. And then you have another team who always starts off like this, always gets hot, and always figures it out. So I'm going with 49ers, and I'm also planning on probably a little bit of a season turnaround for them too. And this is the starting point today.
Okay, fair enough. So we are going to, of course, go through the other picks with a little bit of, let's say, rapidness.
Gusto.
So before we do that, though, we're going to hop to the comments here. So earlier, Sam says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Sam. Key also says, what's up? What up, Key? Sam says you had people come after you for your Wilson comments to TJ. I had people message me and say, hey, I watched the show last week. You talked about smack about Wilson. Played really good. My response was similar to TJ's. I just said, hey, it's one game. Let's see how it rolls out. Let's see.
Those Rusties will come and get you.
Samples are easy to trick. Let me get the whole cake and then let you know how it tastes. You know what I'm
saying? Right.
Like everybody said a certain quarterback in Carolina, because he won the game, he was the guy, and it was all on, the rookie when he was a rookie and as a second-year player and, blah, blah, blah. But then we see, he ain't winning either.
Mm-hmm.
So samples can trick you, but let's just see.
Bryce Young in today?
I don't follow it. I live in Charlotte, but I don't follow them. They always lose.
Let's be real. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter at all. Yeah. It does
Hey,
not
it's
matter
a
one
rookie
bit.
showdown today in Carolina.
Sam also says if you're watching the show, hit the like button. We'll also
Do it.
like that share and that subscribe button as well for Shady Sports and for Sports Wave Networks. We can both use you guys support. Shady says hit the like button, help us push this content to new viewers. It says interact with us, let us know what your thoughts in the chat. It says chat who do you have winning. Chat's not really with it today, but that's okay. They watching. Watching is important. Watch us. All right. So let's get into these lightning picks. And we'll start today, 1 p.m. 5-2 Ravens at 1-6 Browns. I think I can speak for everyone when I say I think we're all going Ravens.
30 for 30.
You never know. Any given Sunday, man.
All right. Well, who you going with then, TJ?
Well, I mean, I'm picking the Ravens. I'm just saying you never know.
Saying you don't know what could happen.
Yeah, you never know, man. You never know. First few weeks of the season taught us that. Coach, who you got?
I pass.
It means he's going with the Ravens. Say who you got?
The Ravens.
All right. And we got the 1-5 Titans at the 5-1 Lions. Y'all see why we picked the games we did the highlight? I'm going with the Lions.
Yeah, Lions all the way.
Lions.
Scrimmage.
A better possibility for a game, 4-3 Colts at 5-2 Texans. This was the fourth game I was thinking about highlighting. But I'm gonna go Texans. I feel like the Texans, you had a couple of down weeks, a couple of games that you feel like you could have won that you didn't. You learned a lot as a team. Quarterback learned a lot of growing pains, and it's time to get back on their winning ways, and no better time to do it than against a conference foe. Well, a divisional foe, excuse me. Coach, who you got?
I got my Houston Texans at home. I think it's gonna be a close ball game. The game against Green Bay, tough, hard fought game. A lot of injuries on the field. Not gonna blame it on injuries. We had a 7th round pick at cornerback that shouldn't even make the team. We got 2 linebackers that's hurt, and we still held the Packers to 24 points, which speak basically on how good our defense actually is and how good D'Amico Ryans is as a defensive head coach. And our offense, went through a lot of growing pains. CJ Stroud he's going to be fine. He's going to make those adjustments. But I just got to give credit to Green Bay defense for what they did. They put up a great scheme. Joe Mixon still able to run the ball. But I like the Texans in a close ball game right here.
All right, Sid.
Man, it seemed like ever since Stroud spoke to Caleb Williams, man, Caleb Williams been going off. He took it personal. But I like the Texans in this game. I need Nico Collins back, though.
I do too.
I'm gonna go with Houston. They're at home, so it should be a close game. But I think home field will give them the win.
All right, and then we have the Green Bay Packers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Packers. I ain't got nothing else to say. Packers. TJ, who you got?
Packers. Hate to say it, but Packers.
Sid.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Jaguars.
Coach.
Well, I just want to wish Chelsea Clinton. If y'all don't know who Chelsea Clinton, if you watch Rush Hour, that man demanded $50 million. That's what Trevor Lawrence got right there. I will wish him good luck. I'm going with the Packers. I will wish him good luck though.
All right, then we got the 3-4 Cardinals at the 2-4 Dolphins. Tua's back. Dolphins.
Same.
TJ,
Dolphins.
Sid.
Cardinals.
Coach.
Tua's playing. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins at home.
Did the new Call of Duty come out already too?
It did.
It did.
Oh yeah, Dolphins all the way, definitely.
All right, 2-5 Jets and 1-6 Patriots. I got some good news for the Jets. You're bad this year. The Patriots are putrid Panther area bad. Going Jets.
Patriots.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going Pats too.
Coach.
I'm doing a coin flip. I'm gonna go heads. I'm gonna go with the Jets. But I don't feel good about this pick either. I don't
feel good about this game, but all right. Then we got the 4-2 Eagles at the 3-4 Bengals. I'm going Eagles. Coach, who you got?
I'm going Bengals at home. Like the way the offense been progressing, the defense been a lot better. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's a field goal game. I'm going with the Bengals at home.
Sid?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals too because I need Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown to not go off today.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Jalen Hurts is not going to probably go off any more games this year.
Yeah, so hopefully not. I'm not against the Eagles. I'm just saying, like.
No, I mean, I don't think he's going to have, like, I get what you're saying. I don't think he's going to have those 300, 350-yard performances and 3-4 touchdowns. I just don't think that's the way they're going to operate the offense. So I don't think he's really going to have, even in wins, I don't think he's going to have a big game.
Well, no D-God today. I mean, Devonta, I don't even know what his stats were, but it felt like he really wasn't there last game. He comes up, in those short yardage situations, but he wasn't heavily involved. I definitely see Saquon going off, right? Saquon's always going to go off. But I don't mind about that. I just need AJ Brown to maybe only catch 2 passes for like 15 yards and call it a day.
Yeah, that's unrealistic. So
that ain't gonna happen.
He's a top 5 receiver in the league, man. You're not gonna hold him.
I just need this Bengals defense to eat. TJ.
TJ, who you got, man? That's
same determining factor for the Texans-Colts game. Bengals, it's going to be a close game, but they're at home. And fun fact, 2 of the last 4 matchups between the Bengals and Eagles have ended in a tie. So,
yeah, we haven't beat the Bengals in Cincinnati in a whole lot of years. Time to get rid of that. But we'll see how that goes. We've got the 2-5 Saints at the 3-3 Chargers. The Saints are kind of sliding to that territory where I'm picking against you, and I'm going with the Chargers. TJ, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Saints. This is the week they either get back on track or they just start to really fall off the cliff.
All right, Coach.
I'm going with the Chargers at home. I think the Saints already fell off the cliff. I think that would done that.
I agree. Sid?
I go Saints because I don't like the Chargers. I don't mind them. I'm just saying.
I am not surprised.
I need them to lose.
All right, then we got the 5-2 Bills at the 4-3 Seahawks. I know the game is in Seattle, but I'm going Buffalo. Sid, who you got?
Buffalo.
Coach, who you got?
I win my right hand man. Cool. Going Buffalo on the road.
TJ, who you got?
I'm lone wolfing it. Go Seahawks, mainly because of AFC standings. I need the Bills to lose.
That's fair. All right, and we've got the 1-6 Panthers at the 4-3 Broncos. Let's just say, for instance, I hated the Broncos as an organization. I never wanted them to win. I wish nothing but bad luck upon them. They're playing a team that they probably can't even lose if they try to lose against. You play against the Panthers, I'm going to always pick you. I'm going Broncos. Sid, who you got?
You already know. I'm going to go with Bryce Young and them. No, I was playing. Going with the Donkeys, man.
Coach,
I need them to win.
Again, I'm going with the Broncos. Panthers. The city of Carolina could never do anything right. I mean, especially the Panthers, they can't draft right. They can't pick the right player. They can't pick the right coach. They can't do anything. Just like Charlotte. They Brandon Miller's been very good. They Melo Ball's been, but they can't pick the right coach. They can't do nothing right. Those two teams cannot do anything right. So yeah, I can't pick Carolina. I don't pick Carolina. I'm not picking Carolina this season. I don't care who they're going against. I'm taking the Broncos to win this game. They do nothing right.
I think this is the week the Panthers get win number 2.
Could be a sit-up game, huh?
I really do. You know, everyone's finally starting to believe in the Broncos. This kind of has a Steelers feel where we finally got believers, then they choke.
Yeah.
So.
If you choke, say y'all gonna be the laughing stock all
Hey,
y'all really are,
keep
bro.
talking about it. We can go on to the next game. Get that juju out of the air.
All right, that'll work. Let's go ahead. Kansas City Chiefs at the declining Raiders, who didn't expect to be great anyway. Kansas City got themselves. You know, I'm gonna say it every week. I don't care if people agree with me or not. You got to beat Kansas City and you got to beat the refs. The Raiders do not have the talent to do that. Kansas City.
Kansas City. Maybe on their own without help this time. What?
I saw this
This
graphic.
could be one where they really don't get a lot, but they'll probably still give them a couple just because, just let them know we still all good.
I saw this graphic. It was like teams without multiple touchdown throws in the last game. And then it was like Kansas City by themselves, and then it was the rest of the NFL. They had multiple touchdowns. And then it was like same thing could be said for the teams, without losses in the NFL, Kansas City. So I'm going to go Raiders because I need Kansas City to lose.
Well, I don't think Kansas City need the refs this game to beat the Raiders. I think the Raiders beat themselves. I think the Raiders just beat themselves today. So, I think Kansas City will get this win. If the Broncos lose to the Panthers, we may not see said for a while.
I got faith in our defense, though. I'm ready to play this Kansas City.
We're gonna have to check on said if that.
Hey, I might be busy next week, depending on how it go.
Yeah, we got to send them some virtual hugs and stuff if they.
Oh
man,
man,
we gotta check on if that happens.
All right, our last matchup, man, is a bunny. If you ask me, it's a bunny. The Giants beat themselves. They constantly pull out guns and shoot themselves in the foot and chop off toes and all that stuff. They just, I don't know. Not that they have the best talent, but they play below the talent that they even have. The Steelers, they're coming off a big emotional win. Russ is in there, people like me and TJ who openly just say, hey, Russ looks cooked. Look at the way he did with the Broncos, he looks washed, right? Steelers Nation, let's ride. But I'm going to go Steelers. Steelers should get a victory in this game. You don't have to have Russ play amazing to win this game. You can have a good running game. You have a solid defense. This Giants team has shown you they will crack under pressure. They are brittle glass when it comes to mentality as a whole, in my opinion. So, Steelers for sure. TJ will save you for last. We'll go Sid. We'll go Coach Dante. And then TJ will finish us out.
I'm going to go Giants because I need those AFC losses, as many AFC losses as I can get.
Coach. I'm gonna go Steelers. I'm gonna go Steelers. Even though game like this remind me of this Cowboys game. A game it was a very winnable game, and then defense decided to play well, and then the offense decided to not do anything. This pretty much could be the same game where the defense do very well, force Daniel Jones into turnovers. And the offense, just don't be on the same page. But I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I think this may end up a low scoring game. I don't think the game will be high scoring, but I got the Steelers to win this game.
All right, and TJ, all you, dog.
I mean, this is a game that the Steelers have to have. You cannot lose to the Giants, be taken seriously as a playoff contender. And I mean, in reality, I don't think it really matters who's playing quarterback for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, since you like playing games, why not just get Kenny Pickett back for a week? Do that. Really play some games.
You can't have
really
him.
play some
He won't look the same.
Because honestly, the offense shouldn't necessarily have to do too much of anything. You already have a defense who's known for their defensive front, applying pressure to the quarterback. But this season, they are ball hawking as well. And Daniel Jones, he's like a bakery man. He's serving turnovers left and right. So it should be an easy win for the Steelers. But I agree with Coach. It would not surprise me if they have to win ugly because they are known for doing that against lower opponents.
I like that. So, guys, there we have it. Again, we started a little late. We got a little long-winded today, but hey, a lot of good talk, a lot of great points brought up. Shout out to Shady Sports Network. Shout out to Sports Wave Network. We both grinding, giving it to you for the game. All our thoughts and everything for the games. Hey, if you're checking it out, make sure you're telling everyone else to check us out as well. Any last thoughts, gentlemen, before we out of here?
Well, I'll just say, catch Fantasy Football Reports tonight at 7. We'll be going over these games that we're talking about now from a fantasy point of view. So catch us on Shady Sports Network.
All I'm going to say, y'all, basketball season just started. Look out for dynamic duo between me and Cool coming up soon. And said,
I want to get on there.
We'll be checking on you and see if you're okay. If that does happen, I don't expect it to happen. I will be checking on you. Said, we got you. I will be checking on you.
Hey, my Nuggets are 0-2 right now. You know, Cool.
Oh, okay.
You know where that's at. So we need this Broncos win now here in Denver. The Avalanche, I can't even tell you when the Avalanche won a game last. So we need it right now.
Little Cool face up there.
I'm just going to say right now, I'm staying mentally in football season because this has been really good. Yeah. I ain't moving to basketball yet, but Denver fans, just calm down. 2 games into the season. There's 80 more games. Calm down.
Man, they missed like 800 threes in the first game.
They even took those 800 threes. But that's a different story. That's a different story, but it did happen. TJ, anything else you want to say, sir?
Let's have a fun day watching football, guys. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we out of here, man. We out of here. Peace.
Peace out.